Oh, it's Friday. Let's jump into the rock news. See what's going on this morning. Aerosmith's bassist Tom Hamilton's brand new band, Close Enemies. Well, they've released their second single now. It's called Inside Out, and it's available for streaming right now on your favorite digital platform. And that is effective actually today. Well, there was a unique piece of Beatles memorabilia. It just sold at an auction. And the lucky buyer is Joseph Robert O'Donnell. He's a Beatles and music memorabilia dealer. What did he buy? Well, he recently purchased a piece of George Harrison's leftover toast from 1962. Yummy! Now, that piece of toast in question was taken by a 15-year-old Harrison fan named Sue Houghton, who had become friendly with his family. While visiting the family, she pocketed the leftover crust from Harrison's plate. It eventually made its way to Houghton's Harrison scrapbook collection, which included other mementos, including fluff from under his bed. She says it's a brilliant story that's both bizarre, historical, and a story I'll continue telling friends, memorabilia collectors, and fellow Beatle fans. And so far, there's no word on how much O'Donnell shelled out for the toast. But in 1992, items from Sue's scrapbook collection were put up for auction at Christie's. And back in that time, the toast sold for $1,600. Nancy Wilson speaking about Heart's upcoming tour, which coincides with the 50th anniversary of Heart's 1975 debut album, Dreamboat Annie. Regarding the group's longevity, the guitarist says, I think me and Ann, we represent what Heart is. The perception of Heart is the two of us. If we're still trying to be the original lineup, we'd never still be there. You know what I mean, she said? There was a lot of drama and a lot of just growing up to do since the beginning of Heart, as far as who was in the band and who came through the band and all the different players. I think our relationship has always been really unique, she said. We're sisters, so we're blood. Our love is blood. And as different as we are, which we really are, and as crazy and divergent as our lives could be from each other, and the circumstantial stuff from the outside and all the static that happens around us, we just plow through it, she said. I always felt lucky to have another girl in the band, not to mention a sister, I should say. It's like being in the eye of a hurricane, the way it's felt over the year, because all the eras go by and the dramas go through, and there's cows flying around and tractors in the air. But at the nucleus of the story is the quiet center where me and Ann exist. We had our own lives and our own husbands and our own choices and roads we took. But the band is kind of like coming back to the good old oak tree called Heart. It exists there, she said. The roots are deep and it's bigger than all the rest of it because the music and the songs are there in the culture. It's a lovely, steady pillar of power that just exists on its own. Even without me and Ann, it'll still be there, she said. And last July, Heart postponed the remaining dates of their 2024 North American tour in order for Ann to undergo cancer treatments. The rescheduled Royal Flush will now kick off on February 28th. That would be today in Las Vegas, Nevada, wrapping up April 16th in New York City. Legendary keyboardist Don Airey, the master behind the keys for some of the rock's most iconic albums, unveils his latest single. It's called Moon Rising. Of course, he plays with Deep Purple. Taken from his upcoming solo album, Pushed to the Edge. It's set for release March the 28th. That track is now available for streaming and as an instant grat download with all digital album pre-orders. John Bon Jovi confirmed that Bon Jovi will release a new version of its 2024 album Forever as a collaboration with other artists this time around. He told writer Joe Matera, "This is an album that we're very proud of, and I think it's the best Bon Jovi record since Lost Highway, or at least Have a Nice Day," he said. "We love every song on it. It was a joy to make this album, but I wasn't ready to go and book shows post-surgery recovery. So I reached out to a number of friends and I said, if you guys would sing a verse here and there, it'll give this great album another life." He adds, "My focus moving forward is on the release version of Forever and, God willing, getting back out on the road and running that project through its life." Forever contained 12 new songs, including the hit single Legendary. Forever marked John Bon Jovi's return to the recording studio after surgery. You might recall when he had to repair his damaged vocal cords. And in a new interview, Bad Company drummer Simon Kirke spoke about the British supergroup's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame nomination, which was announced earlier this month after decades of eligibility. He was asked, how does he feel about his band actually finally being nominated? And Simon's answer, "It feels good. I mean, it does feel good. But I have to add a note of caution that I'm not familiar with the voting process," he said, "or I wasn't until last week. So we're nominated, but then we have to get voted in on April. I believe it's April the 23rd, he said, that the votes are cast. So we'll see. But I have to say finally, because I've always advocated that Free and Bad Company should have been in a while ago. But I won't dish out sour grapes. I'm just happy to be nominated." And I was saying to a friend of mine earlier that I hope that we can get to the podium because Mick Ralphs, our guitarist, as you know, is not well. And we don't know how long he's going to be around. But it would be wonderful if me and Paul Rogers could get up on that stage and say, "This is for Mick as well," and so on. But yeah, he said, it feels good. He was asked if he was surprised to finally get nominated, and Simon said, yeah, it was. It was a surprise sort of tempered with, wow, at last, he said. And also, what I didn't realize is that there's a two-prong attack. There's the popular vote, and then there's the voting committee of the Hall of Fame who are made up. Once you've been nominated and accepted, you become automatically a voting member, he said. So I didn't know that. Yeah, so there's hundreds and hundreds of musicians and executives who are now on that board, as it were. So there's also the popular vote where the fans can go on the Hall of Fame website and then they can vote. So when the votes are cast on the end of April, that's when the committee steps up and they cast their vote. I mean, I'm a friend of Steven Van Zandt, who's been on the Hall of Fame committee for years. And every year they sit around the table and they scratch their head and they say, why the hell isn't Free and Bad Company in? Because of our influence. I think a lot of bands were influenced by us like we were. We were influenced by lots of bands before us, like the Stones and the Beatles and black music. And he said, we're just passing it on. And that's your update on rock news for this Friday. You can find these classic rock news updates now on TikTok, YouTube, the ClassX Radio Facebook page, as well as X, Gab, and Truth Social. Just be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow. Discover classic deep rock tracks. All B-sides now at ClassXradio.com. You can listen on our TuneIn channel and on our very own mobile app that's on your app store. It's Rock Radio. For Gen Xers, baby boomers, we love it, and you will too. See you next time.